I'm 60 years old now, and it took me more than 30 years to truly understand what I'm about to share with you today. Over those years, I made many mistakes with my health. In fact, I'm going to walk you through 7 of the biggest health mistakes I personally made. My hope is that by sharing these with you, you can learn from them and avoid years of unnecessary frustration and health problems. When I was making these mistakes, it would have been very difficult for anyone to convince me that I was wrong. I was in that mindset where I believed I already knew everything. I wasn't very open to new ideas. So if there's one thing I hope from you today, it's simply this: stay open-minded. Being open to learning could save you years of struggle. I've personally gone through several serious health crises in my life. In some ways, that's not a good thing. But it did give me something valuable. It helped me relate to many of my patients because I've experienced many of the same symptoms they had. So today, let's dive into the 7 biggest health mistakes I made and what I wish I had done instead. The first mistake was taking too many vitamins. At one point in my life, I was taking more than 100 vitamins a day. And I'm not exaggerating. I had bottles everywhere. I would even drive with my wife and suddenly say, "Let's stop at the health food store. Maybe they have something new that could help me." We would walk in and come out with even more supplements. I literally had a small warehouse of vitamins at home. The reason was simple. I was constantly tired. I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I had severe insomnia. I had arthritis and many other health problems. I believed there must be one special vitamin that would fix everything and give me energy. But what I didn't understand back then was this: supplements only work well when your diet is already good. My diet at the time was terrible. I wasn't getting enough macronutrients. When we talk about macronutrients, we're talking about fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. At that time, I was following a vegan diet and trying to get all my protein from plants. Unfortunately, my body did not respond well to that at all. I constantly felt hungry and unsatisfied. Looking back, what I should have done was start my day with high-quality animal protein. Protein is essential for repairing and maintaining the body. Much of our body is built from protein, and it must be replaced regularly. Energy mainly comes from fats and carbohydrates. But personally, I've learned that relying more on healthy fats works much better than relying heavily on carbohydrates. If I could go back in time, I would focus on nutrient-dense foods like eggs, fish, and fatty cuts of meat. The second mistake I made was doing too many detox programs. Years ago, detoxes were extremely popular. People were constantly doing juice cleanses and colon cleanses. The problem is many of these programs flush out not only toxins, but also beneficial gut bacteria and important electrolytes. That can actually be dangerous. Many detox programs involve drinking apple juice or other sugary liquids while barely eating real food. The issue with that is the sugar prevents the body from switching into fat-burning mode, so you remain hungry and miserable the entire time. I tried several of these programs, including the famous lemon juice cleanse with maple syrup and cayenne pepper. It was not a good experience. I felt terrible the entire time. I also experimented with herbal detoxes that were very strong. Sometimes those herbs triggered immune reactions, and I would end up sick in bed for nearly 2 weeks. One time I even tried a gallbladder cleanse where I drank a large amount of olive oil. That was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. Looking back, all of that was unnecessary. What I should have done was simply follow a healthy eating plan with whole foods, adequate protein, vegetables, and possibly a few targeted supplements. That alone would have solved most of my problems. The third mistake was telling myself I would start eating healthy later in life. When I was in college, I lived mostly on carbohydrates and strong coffee. I was constantly tired while trying to study. At the time, I thought it was just part of being a student. But in reality, my blood sugar levels were constantly crashing because of my diet. If I had simply eaten balanced meals with protein and healthy fats, my brain would have functioned much better. Even after graduating, I didn't immediately improve my diet. Instead, I experimented with a vegan lifestyle again, thinking it was the healthiest choice. Unfortunately, that caused significant inflammation in my gut, and my health actually got worse. Eventually, I discovered a healthier version of the ketogenic diet, and that's when my health really started improving. If I had known about that years earlier, it would have made an enormous difference. The fourth mistake involved a problem with my right shoulder. I believed my shoulder itself was the problem. So I visited chiropractors, massage therapists, and physical therapists trying to fix it. But what I didn't realize was that the pain was actually related to my gallbladder and bile ducts. Sometimes pain in the right shoulder is a signal from the liver or gallbladder area. In my case, the bile had become thick and sluggish, which caused pressure under the rib cage and referred pain in my shoulder. The lesson here is simple. Sometimes the true cause of pain is not where you think it is. The fifth mistake was ignoring intermittent fasting. When I first heard about intermittent fasting years ago, I dismissed it completely. I thought it sounded silly. But once I tried it and studied how our ancestors lived, everything made sense. Humans were not designed to eat constantly throughout the day. Frequent snacking keeps insulin elevated, and that leads to many metabolic problems. When I stopped snacking and reduced my meals, I lost weight and noticed that the swelling around my eyes disappeared. Many people with puffy faces or eyes simply eat too frequently and consume too many carbohydrates. Intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool for improving metabolic health. The sixth mistake was drinking too many kale smoothies. I believed that more fiber was always better, so I started consuming large green smoothies every day. For some people that may work, but for many others it causes bloating and digestive issues. Too much fiber can overwhelm the digestive system. A better approach is moderation. A reasonable amount of vegetables combined with fermented foods like sauerkraut can be very beneficial without overwhelming the gut. The seventh mistake was ignoring magnesium. For years I had muscle cramps, insomnia, and fatigue. Eventually I developed a kidney stone. What I later discovered was that I was severely deficient in magnesium. Magnesium plays a critical role in relaxing muscles and balancing calcium in the body. Without enough magnesium, calcium can form stones and cause muscle contractions. Many people today don't get enough magnesium because modern water supplies no longer contain the minerals they once did. Correcting that deficiency made a huge difference in my health. So those are the 7 major health mistakes I made. My hope is that by sharing them, you can avoid the same struggles and take better care of your health starting today.